All right, we are live and we are no longer waiting for the Instagram to get on board with us. We said no. There was a point that we had gone too far with this and made too many exceptions. And you know what? It's not fair to everybody else. They shouldn't have to sit here for like an extra 10 seconds while we just kind of like wait everything to get going. So I felt like that really needed to be addressed, and now I have. So
it really upsets you. So I'm happy you addressed it.
Good. Well, I mean, it like the format, it was like letterboxed, and it didn't look right. If you're like looking at your phone, it's like, who would look at that? I wouldn't look at that. So here we are, May 1st, 2025. It's going to be May. We finally have never outlasted that freaking meme with Justin Timberlake and NSYNC. I see it all the time, and it makes me crazy. But anyway, all right, I'm already in rant mode. Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group. I am John Laws of Discover South Florida, and we're going to start off tonight talking about home prices falling in South Florida. But wait, this is a little different this time. The South Florida Sun Sentinel put together an interesting article this past week discussing how, prices are actually up in some parts of Miami-Dade and then falling in pockets of Broward and Palm Beach County. And, people keep wondering all the time, is now a good time to buy or sell? Larry, there's a lot to look at with this. But what I found interesting was the initial logic behind why some of the property values, particularly with condos, are up in Miami-Dade, but they're noticeably down a little bit in Palm Beach and Broward County. What they're saying, and tell me if I'm not doing it, but if the writers are wrong. They're saying that everybody seems to be drawn to the new construction condos because they don't have to worry about all those potential structural assessment issues and all those extra added fees that, we've been talking about for the last year plus now. Have you noticed this?
I'd say true. Like most people that can afford a new construction condo are by default have a lot more money. We'll start there. So that's the true. higher end condos are still performing well, but also just new construction in general has done very well. We've talked about this regarding, Pompano Beach and how many of their waterfront new construction condos have pre-sold so fast. There's other projects in Boca that are just breaking ground, like Glass House. We talked about that last week. They seem to be doing very well with their pre-sales. So things are moving fairly fast in that space. Still, things are softening overall, but it's performing much better than the condos, say under $1 million. They're struggling, or under 1.5. In these older buildings for sure.
Yeah. And what's the advice you give to these people with the 1.5 and lower older condo buildings that are trying to sell?
When you're looking at comps, historically, you say, look at the sold comps, the ones that closed, and try to find some that closed very recently and look at those, right? That's historically the discussion. But what we're seeing right now is comps don't always reflect what today's market is doing, even if they were 3 months old or 6 months old. So what we are looking at right now is, what's the activity look like on these actives that are in the building, like the ones that are on the market right now? Usually, unfortunately, some of those are priced less than what the sold comps are selling for, right? And usually it's the opposite. You see people trying to stretch to get a bigger number than what the sold comps are. So the coaching is, look at those sold comps, understand that, look at the actives, and price below those most likely, right, is usually the answer. So be the best option at the best price, be the best value right now, and you'll get out. If you don't, you're going to probably be stuck doing what everybody else is doing, adjusting and following each other all the way down. So and it's hard. It's hard for people to hear this. It's so hard. I have this conversation like 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more. And it, frankly, people don't want to hear it. And sometimes they want to go work with someone else because someone else is like less pessimistic, if you will.
They're going to at least tell them more what they want to hear, even though they may be very well lying through their teeth, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or they just don't know, right? So they don't sell as many condos as we do. They're not trying to sell like 15 condos on the market right now, 20 condos on the market right now. They're just not doing it. So they don't have really a clue what it feels like to sell a condo in this market. They might be selling one or two. So, so that's just the reality. It's just the facts. So every situation is different. Every circumstance is different. But in most cases, you got to really be thoughtful about where you want to list your property today as a condo owner, for sure, without question. So
I was gonna say, and Larry, I know you love numbers, but one of the ones that were noted by this South Florida Sun Sentinel article in Miami-Dade, with the new wave of new construction, especially with condos, obviously post Champlain Towers collapse, buyers are demanding stronger buildings with healthy reserve funds, and they're willing to pay for it. The 33187 zip code in Miami-Dade, condo prices have jumped over 5%, which right now, I mean, that actually, does kind of feel like a lot. Compare that to Palm Beach County's 33446. Values have plummeted by more than 18% in that same time frame. That's amazing.
The numbers are all over the place right now. And that's kind of a signal of a softening market, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so we haven't really found our place, and it's likely headed down. But we still have some peaks or some zip codes or some products that are still selling at good prices. It goes back to like that new construction single family home, Lotus Edge, Lotus Palm. Those things are sold. They're sold out. They're doing great, right? There's no concerns about construction, flood. All these things have been worked out because the community's been built at an elevation that keeps them out of a flood zone. The construction's brand new. It's all hurricane impact, all this other stuff, concrete block, right? And then when you buy new construction, you usually get an advantage on mortgage rates a lot of times, and you also get an advantage on insurance. I can tell you that new construction homes are probably half, in most cases, what resale homes look like that are like 1970s, 80s construction. That's what the insurance rates are. They're just like double what a new construction home is at a price that's way lower. So as far as what the resale price would be on a 1980s home. So I hope that made sense. So overall, it's just a weird. We're just in a weird market. We're in a weird market, and it's because demand is softening. So there's just not as many people out there looking to buy homes, period. The migration has come down. You and I talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. So overall,
I had to look up where 33446 was. I know you do this so much, you probably knew it right off the top of your head. But for anyone who's not familiar with it, like me, that's West Delray Beach.
Yep. So, and which is kind of close to those new construction communities, frankly. So but if you look at this, there's stats here. I just got this is interesting. It was literally today. We just got the April stats, right? Because it's May 1st. So this is like hot off the press. I don't think anyone has seen this data. This is a big deal, right? So what's interesting is Palm Beach County's median year-over-year price growth was 2.49%, right? And so that's April of this year compared to April of last year. So we've seen technically home values go up by 2.5% year over year, according to this, look at time, this snippet of time.
So
right?
prices still went up.
Prices still went up technically, right? What's interesting, check this out. Median list price is down 2%, right? Here's the thing. These numbers can swing quite a bit because you're just looking one month, April month compared to April of the previous year. When you start to level everything out, when you start to bring January, February, March, April, and compare it to year to date this year to last year, you start to see the trend. And so this is a good example of the trend. Look at the inventory, still climbing. This typically doesn't increase during the season. Like example, look at how flat last season was, right? Yeah. Flat. Nope, we're not seeing that. We're seeing inventory go up. So that's a signal right there. Let's look at sold volume. Let's see. I haven't played with this yet. Sold volume dropped. It came up in March a little bit. And again, remember these data points are there's a little bit of noise here, but it's coming down. So so this is just basically number of units sold or number of homes sold continuing to drop during the season. Absorption rate hitting 8 months, which is a record in the last 15 years. So we haven't seen this. We haven't seen absorption rate hit 8 months in Palm Beach County. I mean, this is big. This is big.
And yet days on market, I guess, dipped a little, but with the inventory going up so much.
Yeah. Well, this 90 was the highest we've seen since the Great Recession. It's been very low. So this is a big number. I think we've seen in 2015-ish to 2019, we were seeing 80s, I believe, in Palm Beach County. So this is like right on the edge of where we've historically been, and it feels like things are going to climb. My guess is when we get into July and August and September, days on market start to creep up more. Because again,
how much higher can it go?
Yeah. Well, you know what though? This is like low compared to 25 years ago. So
no, I didn't know that.
So at least this is my mom's been a realtor forever. So she would claim that, I'm not looking at the data, but she would claim, homes could sit easy 3 to 6 months, right? Before they sold. Yeah. That's like a thing. It's not to sell a home in 2 weeks was not a thing. So we're just in this weird moment where the market's kind of all over the place, which is what this article is suggesting. It's like, hey, some places things are getting done and prices are coming up. In some places, prices are showing that they're coming down. I would say overall, softening and likely to see more of it going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll keep everybody posted on that because that's crazy. I mean, but just looking at some of those recent numbers that I guess were just updated today, was there anything else before we move on that stood out to you? Just kind of taking a quick glance at those first numbers for the past month.
Let's see what sold volume did. Sold sales volume actually came up, which is nice in Palm Beach County. Mm-hmm. So here, let me share my screen again. I took it away.
It's all right.
Here. Is that it? Nope. There you go. Yeah. So actually sold volume has come up. It's still substantially lower than it was a year ago, but it's been climbing in Palm Beach County. If you look at this in different cities, you get different results. Again, back to the comments that this article is making. Like if you look at this in Palm Beach, in Boca, it's different. It's very different. I wish I could flip flop for you, but it takes a minute for these data points to load. So, yeah, this is.
But generally, they're pretty similar, like Boca, in line with the rest of Palm Beach County, isn't it?
I would just say everything seems to kind of follow the same trend. Over the years of us doing this, if the market was moving up, everything seemed to be moving up. It's just at different levels. And there may be a little noise here and there month over month, but the trend line tends to go in the direction that everything else is going in. Because we just have like macro trends that are affecting our real estate market as a whole, right? We have either migration increasing or slowing down. What we've seen is slowing down migration to South Florida and Florida in general since the pandemic, right? And so that's pulled back quite a bit. It's still positive population growth according to what we're seeing, but so that's happening and that's affecting everybody, all of them. Yes, some cities are getting different buyers and different types of people, or more or less, but it's about the same. And then interest rates, everybody's impacted by that, and insurance rates, everybody's impacted by this, right? So Palm Beach County, Broward, Dade, they're all experiencing something similar on those levels. And then the question is just like what city or small pockets are the winners momentarily or have slight advantages over others. And that goes back to real estate's a local market. And because it's so local, there's just different, like Boca Raton has a fair amount of wealth, right? Versus maybe a different city in Palm Beach County. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's it, man.
All right. Well, It's not it for Stephen M. Ross. You know, that guy has been continuing to him and Related Ross have just been churning out the projects. And it's not just the high rises that we've seen so much all along East Palm Beach and Broward County. Yeah, this one is interesting for a number of different reasons. If you haven't heard about this, which I guess technically you never would have heard, you would have gotten a text about it. So it all started with a mystery text campaign. You had a $6.6 million public land deal headed up by Stephen M. Ross and Related Ross. They were planning a private school in West Palm Beach without naming a school operator. But the thing is, the story isn't exactly just about real estate. It's about access, influence, and how quietly big deals can happen in your city before you even hear about them. In late March, West Palm Beach residents started getting these texts. No idea where they were coming from, but somebody was warning everyone that the city was quietly selling off 55 acres of public land to billionaire Stephen Ross. It was for a private school, and there was no school operators mentioned, and there was no public input, which was the big one. The land, which is 55 acres of surplus city land just west of Haverhill Road near the Turnpike. It's a parcel of, it's a 316-acre parcel, part of it, that includes the city's well field, which supplies water to the area. So anyway, Stephen Ross and his team have obviously already been transforming all this. But the problem is, again, it comes down to the lack of transparency. So all of these residents are getting these texts saying, I would not go along with this. We haven't even been told about it. Da, 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 da. And they were, the text was encouraging people to reach out to, city figures and their local commissioners to, argue this. And they did. So the deal was slowed down, but not stopped. Larry, what has been your take on this, seeing what's happening here with this project?
I just think it's interesting that they're working on building a private school. I just feel like it
seemed kind of random.
To me, it seemed random. There's something going on here. There's a reason for this, right?
Yeah.
This isn't charity. This isn't philanthropic, whatever.
What are you talking about?
I don't think
Related Ross do all kinds of philanthropic work. I
guess. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm missing the boat here. I don't know. All I'm saying is I just he builds high rises, office space, stuff like that in downtown, and then they're doing this. I could see it being part of a bigger view or vision for South Florida or for West Palm Beach or Palm Beach overall, having a super high-end private school that caters to the people that he intends to bring down here with the development of West Palm, right?
Yeah,
I could see that. Maybe there is a need for this. So from his perspective, and maybe this helps kind of put all the chips in place for the big move, right? So that's interesting. It's so funny. Did you see Jeff Green jumped in and made a comment about questioning the value of what they're paying? Hear what he say? Billionaire
that it
Jeff
was worth
Green,
a lot more.
Yeah. Here you go. Pricing concerns. Billionaire Jeff Green, who runs a local private school, privately questioned the valuation. He says there's no shortage of private school seats in the area and called the pricing a steep discount, which is just funny. A fellow developer, billionaire.
Right. It's like, mind your own business, buddy. I'm not talking trash about your projects.
I wonder if they're friends. This doesn't sound like it. It's just kind of interesting. So, and then, what else was interesting is, what's in it for the city, right? If the sale closes, the $6.6 million, sorry, I can't see this. Yeah, the $6.6 million would go towards a $12.5 million plan to rebuild Roosevelt Elementary School. And Related Companies has pledged $1 million toward the school rebuild. And the school district is contributing another $4 million. So
which is probably why he was getting it at a discount. It's like, well, good. Then in that case, we'll donate more.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So they're donating $1 million. So they're really paying 7.6 million. So does that sound fair, Jeff, buddy?
Probably not. Again, it's like
know.
there's obviously something else going on with this. With some of the other caveats that are listed below, that, for example, 20 of the 55 acres can't even be developed due to the water infrastructure. No access roads yet. Development could take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And the agreement allows for the possibility of school housing, which I don't even know what that is.
So you only get, wait, what's he getting out of this? 20 of the 55 acres can't be developed. So you get 35 acres to build on. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, and this was interesting. Despite public outcry, commissioners gave Related an exclusive 6-month window to negotiate the deal without soliciting other offers. Pretty interesting.
Well, it's interesting because not knowing the setup of the local politics necessarily, but it's like, can they do that? I mean, isn't there like a local vote on something like this?
Yeah, kind of wild, which is thus why there was the top secret text message mission, right?
I'm just saying, I have to admit, regardless of how you feel about the situation, it's like that's a huge chunk of land. Normally, don't these things go to a vote?
Yeah, kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. I guess they can sell land at their discretion to a degree. Yeah, as long as the commissioners are on board, they have to vote. I think the commissioners need to vote, right? So sounds like all the commissioners were on board with this. So
of course,
it's
right.
It's a commissioners. So there's multiple commissioners giving this up. So, and we voted those commissioners into office.
Right. So
there you go.
Okay. Well,
this next one, forget that one.
I know. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mizner Plaza, which we have done videos on Mizner Plaza, if I recall. It just feels like the latest development that is going up right around Tower 155. When I was reading over some of this stuff earlier, I was like, my God, is everything in Boca Raton like popping up right around Tower 155? I feel like this was the trendsetter. And, you got the Aledo Square going on just south of it. Just north of it, you got Mizner Plaza, which it appears they're finally going to go through of all.
This is interesting. We're talking about this because I was in contact with a land use attorney on another deal, and she shared just, hey, this is making progress. I was like, oh, super interesting, because this is exciting. This is a big project, because I didn't think this was ever going to get done, frankly. That was my...
We were talking about it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You and I shot on this. We were excited. It was cool. But there's been seemingly no movement, but that's apparently not super true. So,
Batman's working behind the scenes.
That's it. So Jim owns this, right? Batmasium owns this project, which is interesting, which is different from a lot of the other projects in the area. He's not known to really develop a lot of stuff, right? He just owns a lot of stuff in the area for the most part.
I know. I see the investments limited signs everywhere I go, like every strip mall, everything. It's like investments limited, spot available. It sounds like it's one of those, as soon as you look, I'm like, yeah, I guess that's why he's rich. He does own a lot of stuff.
He owns a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. He was here in Boca before anybody was thinking about Boca seriously.
Right.
So that was the play.
So people that aren't familiar with the Mizner Plaza project, this had been in the works for some time, and whether you live in the Golden Triangle, own a condo near Palmetto Park, or you're just keeping an eye on your home's value, this one's a big deal. This one can make a huge difference, because essentially you got 1.65 acres at the corner of Northeast 2nd Street and Northeast 1st Ave. So we were showing, maybe if you're not familiar with street names, it's where the old USPS site was used, the post office there. And it is going to be another interesting mixed-use development. You got 242 residential units across 2 towers, 34,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space, second floor public plaza, open air design, Yeah, looks really pretty. And when you think about it, in terms of location, we've been going on and on about this Boca government campus just west of that, northwest technically. It's like, man, there's going to be a lot of construction going on in downtown Boca Raton right at the same time, which, you don't want everything to go in at once. I mean, it's cool when it's all done, but, kind of the growing pains in the meantime may be a pain.
Yeah, Boca is transforming. If you own or live in the general downtown area, I think long term you're in a really good position. I think there's so much coming that most people don't even know about. You named a few things. Also, what about the amphitheater redevelopment that they're working on, John?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many things. There's so many things coming. And this building, I mean, if they actually can get this done, now look at this thing.
You think the amphitheater is going to happen? I mean, that was one we talked about a while ago.
I think eventually that gets done. That would be awesome if they get that amphitheater done, because that'll be like real amphitheater, a legit place.
Hey, excuse me, Weezer is playing there later this month. Don't tell me it's not legit. I saw it, and sadly, I'm like, I might go see that.
One of my clients, it was so funny, showed up to one of our. She's buying a property, and she showed up to the inspection, and she had a Weezer shirt on, and I was like, oh, and she's like, yeah, I'm going. I'm like, oh, cool, very cool.
I just saw that like on a social media ad. I was like, oh crap, I gotta go.
Yeah, somebody flipped it to me too. That's the only reason I knew about it. Yeah. Yeah. So,
oh, you're not going?
I'm not going. Probably not going.
You're missing out.
I can't commit to things. I have fear of commitment. I'll be too stressed out. Look at this thing though. You have
It looked really nice.
Sanborn Square is like, that's the entrance to Sanborn Square. Aledo Square is right behind it, right, which is the big development project that's going on. I mean, wow. And then Mizner's right across the street. This is going to be. I don't think people appreciate how big this freaking thing is. Like, look at this
compared to what has been there. Like, that's crazy.
This thing's huge. It's huge. And so they're moving this along. This is happening. So, which is super cool. And look at the design. It's gonna be one of the coolest. I mean, the glass house is gonna be epic when they finish that. That's broken ground and underway. This, which is also walking distance from this thing, right? So, I mean, the new glass structures that they're building, proposing, working through in this area is it's really gonna upgrade the look of the area, really modernize it, which is cool. You're gonna have a mix of different stuff, because Tower 155 is more like Art Deco-y, right? Then you have like the Alina, which is newer and a different look, very more modern-esque. And then you got these glass modern buildings. I mean, there's just a lot cooking over here. So, which
makes me wonder, are developers seeing that same data regarding how new developments, new condo constructions don't seem to be taking a hit at all? That's why the confidence is still high, and we're just going to keep pushing forward with this stuff.
Yeah. I think downtown has some good tailwinds overall. A developer we're working with on another project, he's constantly hitting me up to like kind of show proof of concept on the thing he's working on, and keep his investors happy, as like the market data seems to starting to suggest that things are softening. And I'm giving the same speech. I'm just like, this place is on fire. Things are moving, still moving through.
I'm almost worried it's going to dwarf Mizner Park, Like, I feel like that's such an anchor to that area, but you're going to see that. You're going to see the Boca campus development. It's like, is Mizner Park itself suddenly going to be an afterthought?
There's like a quote from somebody in here that I was reading. Let's see, where was it? So to your point on this, if Mizner Plaza could be the most transformative project in downtown Boca since Mizner Park itself. It raises the bar on design, it balances density with livability, and it creates a more inviting downtown experience, something that benefits every homeowner within walking distance. So, people are suggesting that, to your point, it's because it's massive. You can see the R&H location where the old Sears or whatever was. here. Was it Sears? Something like that from way back. And now you have Restoration Hardware in this location, which has been like, this building has been a little weird. I feel like in Mizner Park forever. Like it's this big.
It's kind of out of place. It's like if you asked me to pick one building, having gone through there enough times now, that like if I had to point at one, I'm like, that's the one that doesn't seem to fit everything else.
It's the building, frankly, that in my opinion, great, put RNH in there or RH in there for now. But like, if I'm thinking about a place, if I owned that, I'd be like, hey, can we like knock this thing down and go up 8 to 10 stories just like these guys? Because that would be way more interesting than, and you could still put an RH at the bottom if you wanted to, right? So like that could be cool. But that whole this needs, I don't know, this needs to go. This is it's so dreary, and it's like it's an old Sears or whatever it was,
right?
So
yeah. I mean, it would stay. I think that's a good idea to keep in line with all the mixed use development, which I have to admit I like those. You know, and you have some already in Mizner Park. You know, I mean, everything else.
The more like humans you could like nice condos, like stuff that you could put in there that like becomes walkable in that area, it just increases the fun of the area. There's more going on. It brings more businesses, right? So every time you put some restaurants at the bottom of a 400 unit thing that's, you know, that you just built, it's like that supports that business to a degree, right? So let's talk about the specs on this. So there's 242 residential units across 2 towers.
Yeah.
There are 117 units in the West Tower and 125 units in the East Tower. 34,840 square feet of retail and restaurant space. 17,000 square feet on the ground floor of that 34,000. 12,400 square feet on the second floor of the 34,000, and another 5,400 square feet of elevated dining space on the 12th floor. A rooftop dining in downtown Boca, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's something we don't have. And that'll be, man, that place will be packed. I mean, that's going to be one of the coolest restaurants.
That's going to be overlooking Mizner Park and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going to be really good.
They had a rendering of it, but let's see. You can see, look at how cool this building looks. It's just cool. And what's neat about how they did it is they kind of set it back from whatever road this is, 5th. What am I making up? This main road. So Mizner Park's over here for context, whoever can see my screen. And then this road kind of runs alongside Mizner Park, dividing the residential single family homes to the east and Mizner Park to the west. And they kind of set this back, which is nice, instead of like just sitting the building right on the road like they did at Tower 155. Again, Tower 155 had way less space to play with than this building does, because I mean this parcel's huge. Mm-hmm. So what I've heard, and you and I talked about this when this was initially a thing. I think they were trying to figure out how to relocate the UPS, the postal service.
Yeah,
right?
It's still open there, isn't it?
It's still there because people were fighting for it to stay there, if I remember correctly. So I think they extended it, and the lease is still there for however long. And at some point, that's going to end, and then they're going to be able to do that. Yeah. So here we go. Location: 1.65 acres at the corner of Northeast 2nd Street and Northeast 1st Ave, where the old USPS site used to be. Which again, I'll just pull it up on the map for everyone's reference, but nope, that's not what I wanted to show you. It's still here, to your point. They're saying old, but maybe they're just calling it.
I mean, I've got by it. I mean, the building
they're taking shots at yeah. So this is the post office, right? Which I have a PO box there. It's still there. I promise you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I literally have a PO box there. And then this and this. So these two things. Yep. And then this is the entrance to the Leto Square and all that, and Sanborn Square. So, yeah, it
just cracks me up that people are fighting over it. It's like it's that hard to retrofit somewhere else to put it. I mean, yeah, I guess people still use PO boxes, but I can't help it. I was immediately picturing old ladies going to get their stamps.
Yeah, they're upset about it, John. Gosh.
Whatever.
Yeah. This should be great. And of course, the challenges. What do you
There are
think they
plenty.
are?
You know what? Not
What's your best
knowing
guess?
anything else about it, my first guess in terms of complaints would be traffic.
Bingo.
I knew it.
Yep.
Which, in fairness, at least during the construction phase, that is going to suck. You know, I mean, you're picturing all the between what's going right there, what's going to be going on at the Boca campus, you know, on and on. Like there is going to be if they are happening at the same time, there is going to be a bit of a mess.
One of the things I liked about this, though, this proposal was the sidewalks are getting wider, up to 19 feet with dedicated bike lanes. So that's a little that's
encouraging
nice.
to people who still enjoy, you know, walking everywhere, which again, it is always been sold as one of the, you know, better things about living somewhere like that is that you can walk everywhere.
This area needs better and more and safer bike lanes because we know down here if you're down here, getting on a bike is like going on a suicide mission.
Yeah. What do you mean? Florida drivers are great.
Gosh, I've seen some terrible things. Yeah.
So, we all have. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the gist. That's what's going on.
All right. Well, I guess we could move on to the new era. I mean, that's actually what it's called. It's called the Era. It's bringing luxury workforce housing to Fort Lauderdale. You know, as we continue to talk about all the housing crisis and not having enough, you know, workforce housing, the Era is one that could be a blueprint for doing things the right way in South Florida. So the Era is an 8-story apartment project that just broke ground on South Andrews Avenue in Fort Lauderdale. At first glance, 8-story apartment project, you know, it seems like it's just another luxury building, but not your typical renter complex. More than half of its 400 units are set aside for essential workers, people like teachers, police officers, EMTs. You get it. I mean, the workforce. So what makes this such an epic thing, and it's not just the smart design, it is a massive public-private partnership and really could change how we think about housing altogether. So, Larry, what do you think?
I mean, again, just more development, and this is kind of an interesting area to be doing it. It's not. I mean, it's fine. It's in basically downtown Fort Lauderdale, but it's not in like that heart of downtown, which we all know being Las Olas, right? Which is a little further up here. So this is a little further south. And again, they going anywhere they can find dirt at this point, right? So, and I think you and I have possibly brought this up before because I think we were talking about just where, you know, I think they're taking down warehouses and stuff like that. So, where they're building this. So it's just more housing that we need. And especially if they're trying to achieve something close to affordable, that's positive, right? So what's interesting here is it says over 50% of the units are reserved for renters earning 80% to 120% of the area's median income as well. So, and they call that the group is often called the missing middle. They've earned too much to qualify for traditional affordable housing programs, but not enough to afford luxury market rents, like in a building like this. So rents will range between $700 to $400 below market rate in those units. So it's just helpful. It just helps more people qualify to get it done, which is just all positive. And again, this is in like prime location.
Yeah, that is a nice location, right? I mean, and to be perfectly honest, I would prefer to be a little bit off the beaten path of, you know, that Las Olas and all that, which is great to go out in. I just wouldn't want to necessarily live right there.
Oh yeah, this is a quick Uber. Frankly, you probably could walk there if you really wanted to. Yeah. It's a little bit of a long walk.
Yeah, I'm not that ambitious.
Yeah, you're too drunk for that.
Your words.
Let's see, how far is it from downtown? It's 2 miles, right?
Oh, yeah, that's not bad.
So it's a 17-minute walk. I mean, that's pretty solid. So and frankly, downtown's more like whatever. It's in, so you probably, so that's easy. It's saying a 52-minute walk. That's more like it. making this up. So, yeah, and a 6-minute drive, 13-minute bike, pretty close. And again, you're still close to the beach and everything. This is a great location, right close to the airport, all of that. So,
yeah. So my question, Larry, is do you think a place like this will be a sign of things to come with workforce housing of that nature in not just Fort Lauderdale, but maybe more in Miami-Dade and working its way up here in Palm Beach County?
I think we're seeing it like pop up everywhere. It's just wherever these developers can work it through. And some of this live local and this partnership stuff is I don't want to say new, but being promoted more and more from the legislature and et cetera, from the state level. So I think this continues. We need more affordable housing. This is part of the reason why we're talking about the market kind of softening, is because things are not super affordable here. And for example, most of the homes that we're selling are, in most cases, people that are getting out of here and moving to cheaper markets. That's just what it is. And then people who are maybe younger or bigger earners are coming into the area and ready to work and produce. And those are the only people or individuals that are really, really coming to the market right now, where it makes sense for them and they can afford to pay or spend $1 million on a single family home, because that's like almost what you have to do here to get in here, right? To get into South Florida. So, yeah.
Well, it's good to know, that the Live Local Act and some of these programs seem like they may actually be helping.
Let's talk about this. This is, so it says the public-private financing, how they did this. So 100% of the city's property taxes are being reimbursed for 15 years. So that's kind of interesting. Broward County is reimbursing $5.5 million in county taxes over 30 years. So the developer, Affiliated Development, who has done stuff in Palm Beach County like this is kind of their specialty. This is their move, and I think they're getting better and better at it, frankly, as they do more of this. So they're like the guys now, I think. You're going to see more of this from them. I bet you if we pull up their website, it's like mostly this. I think you and I have looked this up before. So anyway, the developer Affiliated Development is leveraging an $80 million mortgage and its housing impact fund to round out the financing. So they're taking a loan, and then they're also getting support from the city on different things. And that's how they're making this stuff work these days, because it's hard to do this affordable housing stuff without this.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it seems like the financing guys are the ones that have to be the wizards.
Yeah. Here, check this out. Yeah. I feel like that's always the case. Here we go. So these are the projects they've been doing. So the Mid, very cool project. They finished that a while ago, actually, at this point. This was one of the ones done in Lake Worth downtown. Another one in Fort Lauderdale, 613. The Bohemian, we talked about this one.
Yes.
Lake Worth, remember that? Yep, we went into that one. The Grand, we talked about this one too. So Hollywood, West Palm, I think the Spruce, we talked about that too. Oh, here's the Era.
And these are all, I mean, in that same type of affordable luxury house.
This is all here. Most of this is the affordable housing type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't say it's all that, because I don't know for sure, but I would tell you that their specialty. Like I know some of these other ones, like this one, the Bohemian, a lot of these.
A lot of those Boynton ones I know we've talked about.
Yeah, exact right. So Boynton here, the Dune, the Piers, exciting stuff to come here, and they're knocking them out. They're like actually getting them done. So when they put their name on something,
that was going to be my next question, right? I mean, it's like, wow, so they're actually building these. I mean, we've seen development plans out the wazoo, but to actually see dirt being moved and putting something there.
Yeah, affiliated development is actually building stuff, which is great. So yeah. Anyway, so you can get excited about most of the stuff that they get approved or work through, and I would bet there's more to come here. This is their niche. This is what they're
kind of laughing at the Mid. It's like the Mid. It's not mid. I see it too much on social media. When people call things mid, I feel cool now.
You're so cool. You're doing great.
It's a curse, really. Yeah. All right. So do we want to talk about eliminating FREC, since we certainly have a little more time here? I know we had an opportunity to talk about this last time, kind of ran out of time. The new House Bill 1461 proposing to eliminate the Florida Real Estate Commission. So if you're buying, selling, investing, or working in real estate, obviously this one could have some serious implications. For people who aren't familiar with it, for almost a century, FREC has handled complaints, enforced ethical standards, and had the power to revoke licenses. I mean, they got a lot of power. Without it, there's no clear enforcement plan. So the oversight would shift to a general state department with no guarantee of the same focus, process, or protection. Obviously, that would be a problem. Thousands of complaints are filed each year. FREC ensures bad actors can't keep operating. I'm sure they try to anyway. Without it, buyers and sellers lose a key layer of protection. Larry, what has been your experience with FREC?
I think I haven't spent too much time thinking about whether they should exist or not. So
you don't sit around like, we could get rid of. Let's get rid of FREC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So my understanding of how this works is obviously you have to abide by the law as a real estate agent, right? So you can get sued, you can do illegal things, you can go to jail, right? So those things can happen. And then FREC has this like higher standard that they expect their licensees to abide by, right? It's almost like the Florida bar on some level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the bar, like you can have your license revoked as an attorney or whatever you call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can get disbarred, right? So that's kind of how FREC operates. I'm not sure why remove FREC? What are the problems? Why are people upset about FREC? I mean, maybe this article is written by somebody that really got jammed by FREC. So here we go. Real estate leaders across Florida are calling for reform, not elimination. They're asking for more funding, faster investigations, smarter oversight. Because cutting consumer protections to save money doesn't help the people real estate is meant to serve, right? So I kind of agree with that. It's like, I would say most realtors are fearful of getting any involvement with FREC. Like it's not considered a fun thing, right? So,
right. So
I think it keeps people in line to a degree. I think it keeps real estate agents in line. It's not a bad thing. I don't think. I agree. I think so that and that's real estate leaders across Florida. Like I tend to agree with that. I don't know. I do agree with. Hey, we want like get things done faster. This bureaucracy nonsense is like crazy. It makes me crazy, right? Mm-hmm. If you're investigating somebody, you can investigate them in a week. You don't need to take a year, right? You know what I mean? Like
I would say, yeah, this is kind of like our discussion 2 weeks ago about all the bad management companies working with condos and HOAs. It's like background checks take like a few minutes.
Yeah, it's like if we operate like real estate agents are in a very competitive space. There's a lot of real estate agents who choose to work with a lot of different people. And if you sucked as bad as, condo management firms, gosh, you'd have zero.
I was going to say, you wouldn't be selling real estate very long.
You wouldn't do anything. You literally wouldn't do anything. So this, I think overall, we just need to find a way to make the system work better. And there's probably not great ways to solve that. Otherwise it would have been, or easy ways to solve that. Otherwise it would have already been solved. Probably.
Yeah. So it almost sounds like FREC is like the equivalent of real estate's NCAA. Like they try to keep a competitive playing field and an even playing field.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's more easier to compare them to like the bar, right? Okay. They're trying to make sure real estate agents remain in operating ethically. And so the general public sees them in a good light. Right. And so like the bar, I think is similar. Right. So yeah, they want attorneys to be perceived as helpful and good, not like stealing your money. Right. So yeah.
I'm a sports guy. I can't help myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So
all right.
That's the gist.
I'm going to say, we'll keep you posted on what's happening with FREC. That is interesting. Now, luxury living just got nautical. We can talk about South Florida's residential yacht setting sail. Were you aware of this?
I wasn't until this article.
That's
Let's talk
right.
about
This
it.
was from the South Florida Business Journal. This one came out end of March. We have a South Florida real estate developers, cruise operators, and international entities expanding their horizons with the emergence of residence at sea. It's a new luxury living trend. You have Crescent Heights, a Miami-based real estate firm, recently announcing its plans to launch Crescent Seas, a luxury residential model at sea. Project, which again was announced at the end of March, will utilize the Navigator, a vessel owned by affiliates of Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, and will undergo a $50 million refurbishment to transform it into a luxury residential ship. So let me get this straight. What, people are going to live on the boat? Everyone. That's how this is going to work.
People are moving on the boat. That's it.
Really?
They're all leaving South Florida to live on the
cruise,
boat.
Carnival cruise, whatever, wasn't enough. We got to go live on the boat now.
This is wild, huh?
Would you do that? Would you do that, Larry? Would you live on a cruise ship?
I don't think that's for me.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
I
I understand people, that when you could do it, you fix up an old boat and you go live on the sea for a year or something like that. I understand, but because I would guess in a case like that, if you live on it, it's like buying a condo essentially. Am I understanding this right?
Yeah, totally. So this is great. So there's two different there's a couple options here. So there's competition. They're not the only ones doing this. So you can this is like choosing between different condo buildings, man. This is great. So Crescent Seas, 210 residences priced between $750 to $8 million. Starlink internet. So you
got the penthouse on the cruise ship.
New York Italian interior design. First voyage set sail in December 2026. All right, so a little ways away. I'm not too pumped up yet. Backed by Russell, whoever, Galbut, and CFO Investments. I'm sure he's a big deal. I just don't know who he is.
Yeah, you can't pronounce their name. That's how you know.
Yeah. So the next one, hold on. This sounds more interesting to me. Maybe I can get on board with this. I don't see a price which suggests something. Yeah. How do you pronounce this boat's name, John? Enter the Ulysses. Oh,
yes. Right. We have too many Norwegian letters and stuff coming in here. Yeah. I'm not totally familiar.
1,050-foot super yacht backed by Swiss billionaire Frank Binder or Binder, whatever. 133 residences and 22 guest suites. So this one's much more boutique, which is pretty cool. Helicopters. So right there, we know this is the one for me. All right. 7 restaurants, a Swiss run spa, and gourmet market, a full service medical center on board, launching in 2029. It's being called the most exclusive floating community in the world.
This is like something that's reserved for the rich people after a zombie apocalypse.
Right? Yeah.
That's where we're going to go live now.
Yeah. So luxury ships now compete with Viking's Ultimate Cruise. So you can spend 245 days for $92,000, it looks like. Regent's 140-day World Cruise from $90K. And fractional yacht ownership with South Florida's firms offering shared access for around $100K a year. So this is interesting.
Yeah, I will be interested to see how that plays out.
I don't even know how to think about that. How could you put me on a yacht for a year? I'm sure they dock and they stop and you go to different places, whatever. But
maybe that'd be okay if you're going all over the world. That might be kind of cool.
Totally. It'd be fun. I just don't know how to think about that because all I do is get up and work and then go to sleep. So I wouldn't know what else to do. And
it's like you would get sick of it. That's why you do it for vacation. You know.
Yeah, exactly. That's
why once you've tried all 7 restaurants, it's like, all right, well, crap. Now what?
Yeah. So what are you doing? I don't know. I don't think I can. I'm
going to take my chopper and I'm off this thing. I've had enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
so
I'm
going to talk about the last topic here, Florida's future. 3,000 hurricane-resistant homes are on the way.
Which is interesting because I thought all Florida homes were hurricane-resistant.
Yeah, me too. They've got 3,000 homes in the pipeline, and they're building them faster than you'd believe. Onyx Onyx Homes.
I think it's Onyx. I don't even think it's Onyx.
Onyx.
It's Onyx.
Onyx Homes might be changing Florida real estate for good. Check that out. Okay. Florida's, let's talk about it here. Let's see. Where are they building? They're building in South Florida. Onyx is currently developing on Coral Rock and on Centro in Homestead. So this is interesting, with more communities planned across the region. They were founded in 2021. This builder is already rolling out new communities across South Florida, Texas, and focused on entirely hurricane-resistant, high-tech homes. So what's their niche here? The tech behind the homes.
It's prefab.
Prefab components are manufactured off-site. Homes are assembled in under 60 days. This means better quality.
Like really complex Legos, or like I'm sure you've seen it, like those massive 3D printers that they'll build.
Oh yeah, they build homes. Yeah.
I mean, it is cool to watch.
So here we go. This is one of the neighborhoods. I mean, this works. And they're building around the what, 700s?
Yeah.
Coral Rock. So it's a good looking home.
Yeah, it looks nice. I mean,
single story it looks like. I wonder if they can do 2 stories. I'm guessing they probably can. Yeah.
Maybe they deliberately keep them single story because it makes them more resistant to hurricanes. I mean, you got a second story.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, to your point. Like, do you think these are stronger than a GL home?
I would.
That's a question,
I mean,
right?
yeah.
Or a Lennar
I'm sure the guys
home.
at GL would say no, but I don't know.
Right? Yeah. So they claim they're still steel reinforced concrete. Okay. I mean, most homes are, right? So impact resistant windows. Okay. All new homes are. Energy efficient layouts, open kitchens, and modern finishes. Okay. That's a great spec sheet, right? Read, right?
Yeah.
I guess from my perspective, is they're building homes that are hurricane resistant that are also tilt up, basically, or manufactured prefabbed, right? Manufactured off site. And let's see, with over 3,000 homes in the pipeline and an expanding presence in fast growing markets, they're setting a new bar for what move-in ready really means in South Florida. Well, I'll tell you this, GL, from the time you call them up or you pick a lot till the time you close, I mean, they'll knock it out in under 14 months, probably, 8 months.
Oh, I see it anytime I'm in West Boca. If I'm going by one of those Lotuses, I mean, they are just cranking.
Yeah. And I mean, we have clients, like we just signed one this week that they picked a lot. We did it. Right. And we're going through the design stuff with them now, but they're going to close in December to March. So less than 14 months. I've seen them say 14 months. I've seen them deliver faster than that. So I mean, to deliver though in 60 days, let's just give them 90 days, 3 months to build these things. I mean, that is wild. That's wild. So
I'll be honest, I'm surprised there aren't more prefabs in general. You know what I mean? Because if you can make it look like a normal, good-looking home, it just seems like that would be the way to go. But again, I'm not an architect. But it just.
Yeah, I think the limiting factor is getting things compliant for the Miami-Dade standard for wind resistance. I think that's the bigger thing here. I think that's what's unique about this development. To your point, I don't see a whole bunch of tilt up going on in other parts of the country on the resi side. On the resi side, I get the warehouse stuff. That's different. But like, again, these are concrete prefabbed pieces, right? So other parts of the country are building with wood frame.
That's true.
Right. So down here, you got prefab concrete homes. It's kind of interesting. All
right.
This is cool.
It is cool. And on that note, I guess we're about to wrap this thing up. On behalf of Oh, we're going. All right. We'll see you at the Weezer concert, which then again, I guess we got a couple more shows before then. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker, owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to Discover South Florida. We're putting out all kinds of stuff like this every week, so we'll keep you in the know on everything that's happening with South Florida. All right. So
See you
until
guys on the
next
next
time,
one.
we will see you.
Yeah.